Good morning and welcome to the Morning Scoop for Tuesday, June 8th. This is your daily Buckeye fix. I'm Tom Orr. The Minnesota game is in 86 days, the game against Michigan in 172 days. The first big recruiting weekend of the year for Ohio State is now in the books, and it sounds like it went about as well as it possibly could have for the Buckeyes. Now, at least one of those visits has turned into a commitment. In case you were wondering why we didn't do this show on Monday, it was like, well, got to let the players get home, then we get a chance to talk to them, then maybe someone commits, and then we can talk about it and have something to really talk about other than, hey, something's about to happen. Now something has happened. My guest today is Buckeye Scoop recruiting analyst Alex Gleitman. He did some great reporting coming out of the weekend for our subscribers on the Ask the Insiders board. Alex, let's start with that commitment. Four-star wide receiver Caleb Brown. He was considered a strong Michigan lean for quite a while before things started to swing towards the Buckeyes. He was here on Monday, and then he committed. So what can you tell people about his game?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's another big pickup for Brian Hartline. No surprise there. He just continues to rack up top level wide receivers for that room, and it's another top 100 kid. I think he's ranked by the composite. I think it's 63rd overall. I think they have him at the industry average. And this is a kid 5'11", 180 pounds. If you watch his film, I mean, he plays a lot in the backfield for his high school. They just want to get him the ball as much as they can. So playing a lot of running back, but I think he projects to a guy who can be a slot receiver. I think he could also play on the outside. So I know Garrett Wilson has kind of gone back and forth a little bit, but if I had to, I don't want to say compare him to one person on the roster already, I think the type of receiver he is a little bit more Jackson Smith and Jigba, where you look at him and you're like, okay, I really like that guy in the slot, but he does have the ability to move outside next year when Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson move on to the NFL. He's a guy, and you look at him, I don't think he's he's not Jamison Williams speed, or he's not Ted Ginn's speed when you talk about straight line going down the field, but you talk about the quickness and the ability to, you watch some of the highlights from camps and workouts and things like that, and his just ability to change direction so quickly and get out of his routes and make defenders look silly and leave them in their shoes. He's got all that short area burst and quickness. And so I think he can absolutely be a weapon in this Ohio State offense. I think he complements Caleb Burton and Keon Grays really, really well. And Ohio State right now, I think they got three solid wide receivers. They could probably shut things down if they want. I think if it's the right receiver came in, they would maybe look at taking a fourth, just because they probably know there's going to be some movement in that room with how much talent they have. But, that's at least one position where you could probably say, all right, we can shift our focus elsewhere to some extent.
Yeah, and the odds of Brian Hartline just getting, if there's one more guy who's like, well, if it's this guy, okay, we would probably take him. I mean, I would not bet against Brian Hartline with just about anyone at this point. He seems like he's got it going about as well as you can possibly have it going. Larry Johnson in that conversation as well, of guys who it's just like every year it's just an assembly line of these high 4-star, high 5-star guys just every year. Another guy who was in Columbus last week was a Larry Johnson guy, defensive lineman Gabriel Harris. He's a 4-star for 2023. At the time, he was committed to Florida State, but he came to Columbus. He worked out for Larry Johnson last Tuesday while we were there watching. And then Monday, he decommitted from Florida State last night, and then shortly thereafter announced that he had an offer from the Buckeyes. Wow, Alex, I'm guessing those two pieces of news might be related.
Yeah, absolutely. Bill was, Banks, the one who's reported on the spot, I think after talking to Gabriel Harris, that the offer was Ohio State was offering him, but conditional based on him decommitting from Florida State. And they weren't trying to force his hand or anything. I think they were just trying to say, look, you're committed to Florida State. If you're serious about considering us and you actually open up your recruitment, we could talk. But until we really see that you're serious about, being a Buckeye or at least seriously entertaining being a Buckeye, we need to kind of see a show of faith on your side. And it happened very quickly. I think that tells you all you need to know about how Gabriel Harris feels about Ohio State. It's very clear that probably went home, talked things over with the people that are influential in making his decision and said, well, I'd like to go to Ohio State over Florida State. Maybe he doesn't know Ohio State is the place for him, but it's very, very clear that he wanted that Ohio State offer and that he right now, I think Ohio State would probably be the leader in his recruitment. Now he's going to go to Alabama. He's going to go to a few other places, and let's see who offers him, and let's see, how he feels about those schools as well. And then we'll really see where Ohio State stands. And as Bill said, I mean, this one could be a multi-commitment type of deal. type of kid. So you want the last commitment, not necessarily the next one. But I think Ohio State is at least in a good position to be in that top group for Gabriel Harris moving forward. And it was very clear. This is what was told to him over the weekend. And then a few days later, he goes and does it. It doesn't get any more clear than that.
Yeah, he came up from Georgia just to camp and to work out with Larry Johnson. It was like, I don't know if this Florida State offer is going to stick, because it sure seems like he might be shopping for something else. And we were standing right there 10 feet from them as they were working out on Tuesday last week. And it was real impressive. And he was not working out real long. You can work him out for an hour, and Larry Johnson did not have him out there for an hour. He was working hard, but he was not out there for an hour. I think he saw what he needed to see. So yeah, that is probably one to keep an eye on moving forward. Another one to keep an eye on, Zion Branch. He was someone who entered the weekend as a possibility for the Buckeyes. Very highly ranked 4-star safety out of Nevada, out of Bishop Gorman High School. He entered the weekend as like a possibility for the Buckeyes, and it sounds like he might be more than just like on the possible list now.
Yeah, I mean, for me coming into the weekend, I thought Ohio State had more of a chance than a lot of people were giving them, but I thought in the end he would stay out west. And he still might. He might stay with USC. We'll see what happens. But from everything I texted Mark on Saturday night after talking to someone who was very much in the know in this weekend's visits, and that person, I don't want to give away too much. You'll have to read the ADEC for those of you that are subscribers. But ultimately, let's just say things were going very, very well for both Zion Branch and his brother Zachariah, who's a 2023 receiver. And I had texted Mark saying, I think Ohio State's going to might get Zion Branch. And it was just funny because then the next morning I was mad at myself. I didn't put it on the scoop at that point. I was actually out on a boat on Saturday night and had a few too many maybe. Didn't put anything up. And then, some writers from the other sites were crystal balling or future casting or whatever it may be. And yeah, I mean, I'll share more in ADEC, but from what I hear, the visit went really, really, really well. The whole family was super impressed with what Ohio State had to offer. I think they felt really comfortable with the other commits on campus. And I would say Ohio State's the leader in the clubhouse right now. I was supposed to get an interview with Zion, and he kind of was like, send me some questions. We'll talk later. And then when later came, I said, hey, you want to talk? Are you able to answer some of these for me? And he kind of said something along the lines like me and my parents decided I'm not going to talk about any visits until after all my June visits. And I don't know. We'll see. But to me, that was almost an indicator of like, I don't want to give too much away or be too glowing about Ohio State before I go visit maybe some other schools or maybe make a decision. I mean, one person even told me to look for a decision maybe as early as this week. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I think a lot of people at Ohio State feel confident about how it went with Zion Branch. And I think Zion feels really good about Ohio State coming out of this weekend.
Yeah, I think Monday afternoon or Monday evening, I might have seen that he is visiting USC this weekend. So that's, at least that was the other school that was kind of at the top of his list coming into June. So not a real shock that he would at least want to go see that in person. As you mentioned, his younger brother, Zachariah, another top 100 prospect, a wide receiver for 2023. He earned an offer from the Buckeyes last weekend. So give us a real quick scouting report. What kind of wide receiver prospect is he, and how might that impact Ohio State's chances to land potentially both of them?
Yeah, he's fast. I think it was 10-3 in the 100. He flies, man. That kid flies. And, he got the offer he might have gotten the offer anyway, but I think getting him there in person and seeing him and spending time with him, I mean, they gave him the offer. Ohio State doesn't do the package deal thing. They won't offer one brother to get the other. So they had to be sold on Zach to do that. But now that they are sold on Zach and they offered, I think that's huge for their chances of landing Zion. A lot of times, the brothers will talk and they'll say, we'd love to play together, but whatever's best for him is best for him, and whatever's best for me is best for me. I don't think that's necessarily the case here. I don't think it's a guaranteed package deal, but I think there's a really good chance they end up at the same school, wherever Zion picks. And so right now, if I'm saying Ohio State's the leader in the clubhouse for Zion Branch, I think that they're the leader in the clubhouse for Zach Branch. But, he's 2023. He has time. I think even if Zion decides to commit tomorrow, I don't think that necessarily would mean that Zach would turn around and commit. He could, but I think, he might go through the process a little bit and then almost like come to his own decision to some extent. But I think Ohio State offering him it only helps Zion Branch feel that much more comfortable potentially committing to Ohio State.
Well, and Zion Branch was not the only highly ranked safety to visit over the weekend either. Xavier Nwankpa was in town as well. He's from Iowa. Ohio State has been considered more of a favorite to land him than Branch in recent months. And then as maybe Branch was maybe trending a little bit more towards Ohio State, Nwankpa was maybe trending a little bit more away from Ohio State. So, how did things go with him this weekend, and where do things stand? Is Ohio State on a little bit more of a solid footing with him now?
Yeah, I mean, I never personally felt like it was trending away. I think maybe like a lot of people kind of thought it was a not if but when type of deal with him in Ohio State, and I don't know if that was ever the case. And I think once people started realizing that the Texas A&Ms of the world, the Notre Dames of the world, I forget where else he's going, maybe Alabama, like they were like getting visits and they had a real chance, and like that maybe it was slipping away from Ohio State. And I know Mark had felt that people in the Woody felt less confident than maybe they had in prior months. But I spoke to Xavier, and I'll put some of that in ADEC. I think, he had a really good visit. This was a really, really good visit. I know on Sunday, a big thing that was very impressive to him and his family was, I'll call it the not like the fun parts of the visit where you go out to dinner and you go party and all that stuff. I think it was what I'll call the business stuff, like sitting down with the academic people, sitting down with the coaches, like hearing their plan for him for both like on the field and off the field and life. I think that was really, really impressive to him and his family. And I think Ohio State's still the leader coming out of these visits. I don't think it's anywhere close to a done deal. I think that they have to, what's the word Mark used in his article? They have to avoid some landmines the rest of the way. But I still like where Ohio State's positioned. I like them better than any other school right now, and I think that that's all you can ask for. You would have loved to have wrapped it up, of course, but if you couldn't have wrapped it up, I think they're positioned better than the other schools. Now, he could go to Texas A&M and have an unbelievable visit, and that could change the tide. Same thing with Notre Dame or Alabama or whoever else. And so we'll see how those other visits go. I think they're going to be really important. But I think, to use Emil Wagner's term, Ohio State set the bar really, really high for him with this first visit. So we'll see. I mean, him and Zion Branch could coexist. I don't think that that's a concern. I know a lot of people were asking about that. I think they played two different positions and they were pitched as such this weekend. So that's not a concern. I think it's just going to be a matter of, does he feel most comfortable with Ohio State being the place, to develop him to where he wants to go.
Yeah, Zion Branch projects as a deeper safety. Nwankpa maybe is more of a bullet. So yeah, those are two very different. They're both listed as safeties, but those are two very different spots on the Ohio State defense. You mentioned Emil Wagner now, so let's just go straight there. Offensive lineman from Wayne High School in Dayton. It sounds like his impressions of the visit were good. Did Ohio State do enough to put some distance between them and Notre Dame and other schools, or is that still kind of up in the air?
Yeah, like I spoke to Aamil, articles on Buckeye Scoop. It's free for everyone. Definitely go check it out. And he had a lot of great things to say. Really, really smart kid, high academic kid. And I think Ohio State played it perfectly. They set him up with Luke Whippler, Harry Miller, Paris Johnson, and Nick Petit-Frere basically on his visit. And those four guys all could have went to Notre Dame or Stanford or any high academic institution to play their college football. And they chose to come to Ohio State. Petit-Frere, and I guess Paris to some extent, chose like Notre Dame or chose Ohio State over Notre Dame. Harry and Whippler directly chose Ohio State over Stanford. And I think putting him in a room with them for a lot of the weekend was a really smart move by Ohio State. And I think it helped a lot. It made him feel really comfortable. And it answered a lot of his questions. Now, he genuinely, I think, will go into each visit with an open mind and give everyone a chance to kind of impress him, and then see how he feels after his visits. And if he feels strongly about one school, commit. If not, he'll wait a little more, maybe make a second round to a couple schools. I think Ohio State is I don't want to call them leader, but I think they, as he said, they set the bar high. I think they set the standard of what he's looking for. And let's see if anyone else can match it or exceed it. Kentucky, he's going to. Maryland, he's going to. Penn State, he's going to. I don't think Penn State or Maryland really have much of a chance. He's also going to Notre Dame. I think they have a great chance. Marcus Freeman, Mike Mickens, two alumni of Wayne. High academic situation. I think it fits him really well from an environment and atmosphere standpoint. So they're going to give Ohio State a run for their money. And then his brother played football for Kentucky for 2 years, so he's really comfortable with those guys. But I would say they're third and kind of a dark horse, but they're third. But I think Ohio State's the team to beat right now. But it's the visits are going to be key. Does anyone match what Ohio State put forth this weekend?
Well, and another player who Ohio State put forth an awful lot for this weekend sounds like was five-star defensive end Amari Abor coming out of Texas. It sounds like everything was trending towards Ohio State before the weekend, and everything seems like it's probably still trending towards Ohio State for him after the weekend. Is that about right?
Yeah, I really like where Ohio State stands. I doubled down. I had a source tell me that they thought he was. I think this is just hyperbole, but they were like, he's a lock after this weekend, and I'm not buying that completely. Kid from Texas who's taking visits to some of the top schools in the country. I'm just not buying the word lock for anyone, let alone him right now, or even close to a lock. But I think Ohio State's in a really good position, and this is the kid who Mark said they have to avoid some landmines along the way, and I think they do. But I think all signs right now, if signing day was today, he'd be a Buckeye. So that's coming off a visit. That's all you can ask for. I think they made a great pitch, but some other great schools and great coaches are going to be trying to convince him otherwise. And we'll see if they're able to avoid those landmines or not. But I like Ohio State right now.
Another guy that they don't have a commitment from right now, but they are, pretty much in as good a position as you could ask for at the moment, it sounds like, is five-star Sonny Styles from Pickerington. He didn't visit last weekend. He was on campus last week, though, middle of last week. We saw him camp on Tuesday. Five-star defensive standout for 2023. It sounds like, again, nothing is done, but it sounds like that camp visit went about as well as it could have right now.
Yeah, it definitely did. He really enjoyed it. He loved working with Al Washington and Kerry Combs and Matt Barnes. And I think what he loved the most, actually, he did some stand-up rushing stuff with Larry Johnson. And I think what Ohio State just showed him is that they would basically use him as a defensive weapon. He's technically being recruited as a bullet, he told me. So that safety linebacker hybrid, I think he probably could grow into a true linebacker. But I think Ohio State showed him that they would find a way to use him all over the field, blitzing and coverage, playing the run, zone, man, like every which way possible. And I think he really liked the coaches. He took to their coaching really well. They coached them up really hard. I think he loves everything about Ohio State. He's just, his brother Lorenzo, I think, was just kind of looking for something different maybe. He also wanted to play receiver, and Ohio State wanted him as a defensive back. So that didn't help either. But I think Sonny Styles, let's call it out of the two brothers, was probably more of a Ohio State fan growing up. And I think that will help in the end. Notre Dame has a shot. Maybe a couple other schools will have a shot, but he'll take all his visits. I don't expect the decision maybe until next winter at the earliest after the football season. I guess you never know, but from talking to him, it seems like he might just play the season and then figure it out sometime in the off season next year. I think at this point next year he'll be committed, but I like Ohio State right now. I think they did a really good job on that visit, and I think he'll try to get back to Columbus at least one more time this summer.
Well, Alex, appreciate your insight on all this stuff. I mean, this is normally a very quiet time of the year, and everything is just exploding all over everywhere right now. And then Tuesday is yet another camp day at Ohio State. And guess what? We're going to have pretty much the whole Buckeye Scoop team out there to cover it. Bill Green, Mark Givler, Mick Walker, Kirk Barton, and I. And, I don't know, maybe Alex will just drive out from the East Coast, or Dominique will fly out from Florida or something. I mean, might as well get the whole gang there. Last week, camp day was an absolute blast on our board. Just a ton of content, videos and photos, interviews, analysis, podcasts, all in one place. That place was the Ask the Insiders board. Today should be even better, but you have to be a member of BuckeyeScoop.com to see it. So sign up today at BuckeyeScoop.com. You'll get access to all of that great content on our Ask the Insiders board. You also get a chance to win Nevada Bucks 4 tickets to the Oregon game. All you have to do is be a member by July 4th. So go ahead and sign up today. Your first month of membership will cover that. You can win some Oregon tickets. Get a fantastic full day of content today at BuckeyeScoop.com. If you've been waiting for a chance to try it, this is it. do it now. There's camp today, there's camp tomorrow, camp next week. Like, this is going to be a fascinating, busy month. Lots of commitments, lots of offers going out there, lots of guys coming to camp to try and earn offers. I mean, it's going to be a busy, busy, busy and exciting and interesting month at BuckeyeScoop.com. Also want to give you a heads up on this. Last week, we dropped a bonus podcast from camp into the morning scoop feed. I got really, really good feedback on that. So today we're going to do another one, but that's going to be in the Buckeye Weekly feed. So if you liked last week's show that we dropped on this one, hop on your podcast platform of choice, subscribe to the Buckeye Weekly podcast today. Just do that right now. Then you'll get that episode from camp today delivered to you as soon as we drop it. So that'll be probably around lunchtime, early afternoon. That'll be on there. And then tomorrow's morning scoop, we'll be talking more about camp and all the stuff we got to see. We'll have probably some combination of Bill and Mick and maybe Mark on. We'll do a podcast live from the camp at the Woody Hayes. Should be a fun and different kind of show. But man, there is just a ton going on right now. And the only place to get it all is BuckeyeScoop.com. Alex mentioned his ADEC column that'll be going up a little later on this week. Again, like, so much great stuff. There was a couple stories in there that I was like, all right, can't wait to see those already. So those will be great. But you have to be a member of BuckeyeScoop.com to see those. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BuckeyeScoop. Then you'll get a notification every time I drop a new video. We're going to be dropping a lot of videos today from camp. There's going to be a lot of stuff, a lot of big names there to watch. A lot of interviews, analysis, all that at youtube.com/BuckeyeScoop. That's all free. All you have to do is hit the subscribe button and you get notified every time we drop a new video. That'll do it for today. Thank you all for joining us. Have a great day. We will talk to you tomorrow.